album, and started off, actually recorded some of it in Memphis at some studios. Started a little bit there. And also, most of it's done in Katoomba and Blue Mountains, and a little bit down in Springwood. But they played on, Howler played on a couple of songs, and Ron jumped up, and really nice to have just to introduce a little bit of a band thing. Put possibly out.
So how long have you been working on this? Obviously this is a follow-up to 2010's Get Right Satisfied. How long have you been working on this one?
Just kind of sort of squished it in the last kind of, pretty much since America really. So that was about maybe 4 months ago. So once every 10 days I'll go somewhere and try and sort of book in a place and get in for the writing side of things. But it's been a long time coming.
It's been a good couple of years now.
It's been too long. I just haven't been home for that.
So you mentioned you were recording in some studios in Memphis. I know this is one of the legendary studios in the world. How did that come about?
I had a real shit trip. At one point, I was playing in California, and then the next gig was in Kansas City. And as everyone laughs at me, but I kind of stuffed up the plane booking side of that thing and the train, so I had to catch a Greyhound bus, which was a horrible experience. And the guy on my left-hand side was like got busted with like $36,000 worth of cocaine in the back of his car, and the guy on my right got done for armed robbery. And I just didn't sleep for 36 hours on that bus ride, so I wrote a few songs with it. Got a bit of an influence from that. I think that's probably the first song I wrote on the album. And then after that, started from the top of the Midwest, went down to the bottom, and I had about 4 days off after Nashville, and I just had to go to Memphis. It's not too far from there, and we did the tour of the studio, which is just phenomenal. And then I didn't realise that they still hire it out, so we kind of went in there and just threw something together. And it was a buzz. I actually enjoyed the tour of the studio more than actually playing it. There's so many cool little bits and pieces.
It would be like almost more of a museum than a studio.
It really is. It's more of a museum. And they actually locked up the studio part of it for about 15 years or something. And they've opened it up and that's all.
Fantastic. So who, like, was that just you going to record there, or did you have...
Just me and bits and pieces. I really just put some layers down, and it was a good place to sort of throw it down before I forgot them.
Cool.
I lost my phone, put all my songs on my phone.
That seems to be the norm these days.
It is. Back years ago, I used to ring up home and put it on the answering machine. But now
that's right.
So convenient.
So this year album that you're obviously working on, how's it sounding so far?
I'm loving it. It's kind of got a bit more of a funk, rootsy feel, or a bit rockier too. But it's just been a bit more of an experiment, and I just can't wait to get it out.
Absolutely.
It's one of those, we always get excited about a new album, and it's been a while, so more of it than life.
Well, since you're quite satisfied, like I was saying before, you've been on the road a lot, you've been playing a lot, obviously like you've grown as a musician and that kind of stuff, so like how is this sounding different to Be Quite Satisfied, like a bit funkier as you were saying, but like where else is it showing difference?
Probably a little bit fun. I mean, Deep Fried was kind of more of a not acoustic album, but the instruments are more acoustic sounding. This is kind of a bit more dirtier sounding. There's some nice valve amps and just a bit more of a dirtier edge, and also bringing a bit of fun. And of course with a couple of bonus songs on Need a Rhyme, and that's really cool. And sort of the P-funk influence stuff that I like.
Cool. So you kind of risen to prominence, I guess we call it a one-man band. How's it been playing the rhythm section on a couple of tracks, particularly rhythm section as high octane as our Byron?
It was an absolute buzz. And it's really nice to hear, because I was writing the song originally first as a one-man thing, and then we kind of just messed around really. And just the first go, it sounded phenomenal. It's just really lovely to have all those dynamics and with the intricacies and you get with a whole band. But those players are just tricks.
Definitely. So, for those who haven't seen you play, I remember the first time I saw you play was in the Bluesfest in Queensland, and I was lucky to be sitting in the seat right next to where you were playing. I was looking at your setup and wondering what exactly the hell was going on. So perhaps you can describe to our audience your setup.
Well, basically, it's just a looping thing, really. It's I kind of just use a basic, the smallest little loop pedal. And my main instrument, I guess, I use is a twin neck guitar, which has a bass at the top and a baritone guitar down the bottom. So it's basically so I can switch between a bunch of sounds without having to put things down and pick them up again. And it's got kind of like piezo pickups in there to give it that acoustic tone, then you can switch it to sort of your cello strap type pickups, so you can switch between a bunch of different sounds quite fast. It's very good for live thing. That all just runs into a loop pedal, and I'll generally just loop a bass line for a bar, maybe 4 bars or something, and then play everything over the top. My right foot's, I've got 2 pedals on my right foot, which is one's a kick pedal and one's a snare pedal. My left foot's doing all the cymbals. And kind of just, loop the bass line and play everything else over the top, just to kind of fill it out and get that sort of full band sound, and I'll try it anyway.
You definitely get a full band sound, like as I said, watching it, it's quite incredible how much exactly is going on just from one person.
Yeah, right.
So let's go back a little bit to Deep Quite Satisfied, which was your second full-length album, which you released in 2010, and I think it's fair to say that this album was incredibly well received, particularly over in the US, where it's notoriously hard to get a foothold with America being like, I guess the birthplace of roots music. So that's great.
Yeah, it's good. Well, quite lucky. It's got picked up at a very small independent record label over there, and went through a distributor, and it really just for one radio interview I did over there. That was really only the only thing that spurred over there. That was about maybe 2 years ago now, a year and a half ago. I flew over there, played 2 songs, packed up and flew home, and there was about 25 million listeners that one day, and it kind of, from that got into a lot of festivals, and then just keeps it going. And but really, it was just from that radio interview which kind of got things going over there, and now it's sort of got our feet on the ground.
Yeah, absolutely. So how much time have you spent in the States since you did that?
Gone over there 3 times, I think now. In total. The last one was the longest. It was about roughly about 2 months, I think. A month and a half, 2 months. Yeah. And I drove most of that. Yeah. I bought a budget was to hire a car, and I cheaped out. I went to Craigslist and bought this junky little car that had rust all over it. And it did the whole of America, from pretty much from California way up north, all the way to Alaska. Didn't drive to Alaska, obviously, but then actually, no, you didn't get to Alaska. We got it in the Midwest and all the way down south, and then to New York, and we didn't even get a flat tire. Nothing.
There you go.
And sold it for $50 less than I was happy about that.
That's way better than a Greyhound.
That's way better.
Yeah, cool.
Greyhound was the gold one.
So, has the record been as successful here in Australia?
Yeah, it's been really good. I mean, just obviously the numbers are massive over there.
Yes.
It's been really good here too, actually.
Yeah.
I can't complain.
Yeah, cool. So looking back then, because obviously you were quite successful, were you surprised at how successful Deep Quite Satisfied was for you?
Yeah, I didn't expect that at all, really. Just, we always just take whatever comes to you, generally as a music. If you can go anywhere and feel somewhere because of that, and we got to play in Alaska about 6 months ago. I always say we. I always talk about that I know the band members, because it's weird when you're by yourself for about 10 months on the road. But no, it's really good, and it's the best thing about it is just to play festivals like this and just to see as much of the world as possible.
Yeah, definitely. So I think it's fair to say that was the album that kind of announced your presence to the world. The world in general, I guess. So, and it's been quite a process, and like you said before, it's pretty much on the back of that album that you've been able to tour and play in places like Bluesfest and that sort of thing. So what have you learned from this process that you're taking to the next? It's
definitely all about touring. I think that's the most important thing. You've got to just, it's almost like being a choreographer, really. You're better off. It's like you spend most of your life driving, and then you get to, at the end of the night, you get to play for half an hour or 40 minutes, whatever it is. But it's really, I do about 100,000 K a year in just Australia alone. And but you really kind of have to do that. You have to do all the driving and miles. That's one thing I've learned. That's what it is. You've got to enjoy that process. And I think that's the biggest key to it. Spread it out as far as possible.
Yeah. Speaking of spreading out and driving 100,000 you've got a pretty sweet customised van out the back. It's not your average tour van, from what I remember.
No, it's got a little bar in the back there and a PA system built inside. You can plug the guitar in there and jam away. And it's great. It's especially at the festivals too, because you can go out there and chill out.
Yeah, definitely.
And warm up at whatever you need to do, and I love it. So it's my second home, really.
I seem to recall there were like some flashing neon lights in there too.
Yeah, flashing lights. We had a few after parties in there, so shower, toilet, stove, cook, be healthy, and not eat meat pies every day.
So before we open up to audience questions, tell us what the rest of the year holds for you. Obviously, you're working towards any records other than Cinderella Day.
Yeah, that's the main goal. After this, go back to Sydney with C6D, and then there's I've got about 3 weeks off, and I've got to nail the rest of the album in that time, and then we start touring after that. We'll be a couple of months on the road.
Yeah, cool.
It's great, and then maybe back to America at the end of the year again.
Sweet, fantastic.
Yeah.
Let's open up for some questions from the audience. Anyone have a question for Claude? I can't really see you. Any questions for the lovely Claude Hay? He's sitting here with his feet up, ready to answer a couple of questions. Here's one right here.
Did anyone like in particular inspire you to start using like the loop pedals and stuff?
Yeah, totally. It was a long time ago actually. I was just at this little bar in Sydney. It was about maybe 6-7 years ago, and this guy was playing. I think his name was Tim Big ID, and he was kind of like a Jeff Buckley finger picker playing sort of guy. That sort of all originals, but that sort of vein was really lovely, beautiful. He sort of strummed chords, and then he played this lovely chordal finger picking thing over the top. And I was like, what the hell is he doing? I just saw this, it was just one little pedal, and I just ran up to him after the set and said, what's that? And I actually literally went out the next day and bought that pedal, and I had it at home for about a week, and it gave me the shits, and I threw it under my bed, nowhere to lie, I never touched it again for 1 year. But I grabbed it out again, because I was doing a band thing at that time, and then we were kind of having a break. I was going overseas to do some gigs in Malaysia actually. It was a kind of an island thing, and I brought it then. I thought I'd give it a go again, and ended up writing some songs there and doing some solo stuff there. And it was really just seeing that guy play that it just blew my mind away. And yeah, it's a great pedal. There was only one available back then. It was the Akai one, but now they're everywhere. Everyone's making them. They're quite cheap. But no, look, it was. It's definitely from that guy there, and now there's some of the people out there doing it. It's great, more better. A lot of dance guys too, a lot of sort of hip hop and sort of electronic music, see a lot of artists doing that as well. It's good pedal for that.
Cool. Any other questions for Claude?
How do you go about making your other band members those weird instruments that you use on Saturday night?
Oh yeah, having different instruments is a huge influence in terms of sound. If I pick up a sound and some instrument, it gives a different sort of sound. It definitely influences what I write, but I kind of always try to find something a little bit different and turn it into an instrument. But the twin neck guitar, that like I was saying before earlier over there, was kind of that was just a piece of wood someone chucked out on the side of the road. It was an old kitchen bench top, lovely piece of solid maple that had a seat and everything attached to it. But I thought, oh, that'll make a guitar one day. So I chucked that in the back of the shed. It was there for a year or two or something, and then I pulled it out and had this idea of making a bass and a guitar, and it was really just for looping. And then the sitar thing, that was kind of, just a normal sort of sitar. And I just rip all the strings off it and put bass strings on it and separate bits and pieces on it, just so it sort of modified really for looping. The new one I've got, the Stella, I named it. That's kind of more of a cigar box vibe type guitar made out of a baking tray. That's kind of got that old classic sort of resonator sound, but it's also got bass pickup and guitar pickups with separate splits, so you can actually, it's kind of a new thing for me, but it's great because you can go to different chords and not actually have to loop it. But it's got a nice crusty old tune sound. I know that makes no sense, but I love that sort of tone, and does inspire you to write new songs. So I try to get as, I mean, if it wasn't like an issue with, in terms of carrying this stuff, I'd have at least probably 15 guitars on stage. It'd never end. I'd have about 3 necks at least. But I don't know if I answered your question, but it's all right.
Sweet, I reckon we've got time for one more question if there is one. Yes, up to that.
Hi, Claude. What musicians have you been inspired by over the years?
Actually, one of my favourite ever singers is John Claude Hay. I absolutely love that guy. Pretty Clearwater, especially when I'm on the road a lot. Even in America, every day I was putting on Pretty Clearwater. I love it when I'm on the road listening to that sort of stuff. But anything from that, I like a lot of rock music too. I like Chris Cornell. I think his voice is phenomenal. I love Ben Harper. It's kind of just, it's generally kind of rock, blues, funk based. I love all the old P-funk stuff as well. I love that kind of big bass on the one, Peru vibe. Yeah, just anything with a kind of groove edge. I really like the solid groove, and that always gives me a bit of inspiration. But yeah, it's generally kind of a rock edge, those rock blues edge for sure.
Nice one.
But actually, sorry. In terms of blues, this is kind of a weird thing that I actually never ever liked the blues when I was young. When I first started playing guitar, I had no interest in it whatsoever. I grew up, and there's no internet. Where I grew up, there was kind of never really got to see much blues. It was kind of never around. And actually, Steve I was a big Steve I head who I missed the other night, and he was a friend of mine gave me this DVD, and probably the biggest influence of my whole entire life was a movie called Crossroads. And that had, of course, got Robert Johnson in it, but got Ry Cooder. Ry Cooder's, without question, one of my favourite of all time ever guitar players, and Feeling Bad Blues is like, I listened to it just the other day, and every time I hear that, all my hairs just go up. But Ry Cooder is, that is just phenomenal. He's one of my favourite guitarists. And that was really from another point of view, but it really was just from that movie. I got a lot of influence from that. And back then, when I was first playing, you really couldn't get much except from movies. It's hard to get CDs and CDs, records back then.
It's interesting you say that. So I was crashing this the other day where she got her blues influence from, and she cited that same Crossroads movie.
Oh really? Yeah.
I haven't seen that, so check it out.
Oh, it's phenomenal. It's like Paris, Texas too. It's just the playing in it is just jaw dropping. It's phenomenal. I've never heard anything like moves as much as the playing. It's phenomenal.
Cool. I reckon we'll let you go, mate. But ladies and gents, Mr. Claude Hay.